Let's get ready to rumble. No, that's dumb. We're not going to start that way. We are not going to start that way. I'm not starting this podcast that way. I'm going to start it nice and easy. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about today, folks. We got a little bit of a recap to talk about. We have to talk about the Moran 166-mile bike race that my boys Zach and Shannon did this past weekend. I'm still in recovery mode. I had a 6-day head cold sinus thing that was going on for about 6 days before we left. It has since begun to drain into my throat chest cavity. If you can't tell by now, my voice sounds a little bit different. And every now and then I got to break that shit up. The Moran 166 was a outstanding event. Top notch from start to finish. So Zach and Shannon did the 166-mile portion of the race. There's also a 333-mile bike race, which is absolutely insane. So this takes place in Mackinac County up in Moran, the UP of Michigan, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And I got to say, first of all, for those of you that know me, your boys got a lot of shit going on. And I don't get out much. One of my goals, kind of as I got into mid-year this year, one of my goals has been, listen, man, you got to make time. You got to make time for your family. You got to make time for your bride. You got to make time for your friends. And putting this on the calendar was a big step for me, huge step. I haven't spent more than one night away from my businesses, from my family. I would say 10 years. I can't remember a time that I've spent more than one night away in the last 10 years. And that includes just spending that QT with Betsy. And that shit's about to change. I got this big-ass calendar coming from Jesse Itzler, which I'm super pumped for. And it's just kind of one of those things. You know how you do if you're trying to lose weight and you do a progress pick. Like, this is how it starts. Starts with this picture. And then you track your progress along the way. I don't know if that's a good analogy or not. But anyways, I've got this big fucking calendar coming. This episode is brought to you by Chapo's Northside Bar, voted best burger and wings in town. Yeah, you heard that right. If you're going to go out for a burger or wings or both, you might as well go to the place that's voted the best. The best. Why wouldn't you have anything less? Look, and if you're not down for a burger or wings, that's cool. They've got salads, wraps, and sandwiches also. And this summer, it's going to get wild because on June 24th, it kicks off their summer concert series in the parking lot. Live music, folks. And guess what? It's free. Yeah. Come down for the music, stay for the fun, enjoy the best burger and wings in town. Chapo's Northside Bar. This episode is brought to you by Brandon Ball, broker-owner of Dwelling Realty in Manistee, Michigan. Listen, are you looking to sell your home? Then look no further. When you list with Brandon Ball, you'll get a trusted advisor who will guide you through the entire selling process. With extensive knowledge of the local market, he'll help you price your home competitively to attract the right buyers. And with proven market strategies, your home will be seen by the most qualified buyers. With his 17 years in the business, you'll have someone who's experienced and on your side. Contact Brandon today to get started selling your home. 231-690-4981 or brandon@dwellingrealty.com. This episode is brought to you by Just Clean, Manistee's premier car wash located at 146 Cleveland Street or just north of the US 31 bridge. Look, if you're anything like me, you're not going to spend an hour or two in the hot summer sun in your driveway trying to wash your vehicle. I don't have time for that. So I always take my truck to Just Clean. I choose their ultimate car wash, which includes a triple foam conditioner, a ceramic coating plus wax, and a 60-second heated blow dry. They are the only car wash in town offering the ceramic coating. For my money, I choose Just Clean, and I hope you do too. And, it's like a 5-foot-ish calendar. Comes with a bunch of sticky notes and stuff. Anyways, I'm going to plot out 2024 on that thing. And it's not going to be shit like I got a business meeting on Tuesday. It's going to be all the things that I want to do, all the memories I want to make with my family and my friends. I can't wait till it comes. I'm going to put it. I thought about putting it up at Manistee Beverage, but I think the best spot for it is at home. I don't need everybody seeing what I'm doing. But as a reminder, I'm going to put it up in the bedroom, whether Betsy likes it or not, because I think that's the only space that it really makes sense. Wake up in the morning, do those morning affirmations, and take a look at the calendar, and make sure I'm putting the things on there, circling the dates on there that are going to be the most important to me in 2024. It's like big ass calendar. I'll put it in the show notes, the link to it, because you should check it out. I think it's really neat. I mean, yeah. Why don't I just use a little calendar and one of those little flip calendars that you get from like the insurance company or whatever? Why don't I just use one of those? Well, I have a couple of those, and I never look at the fucking things. Okay, but if I have this big ass calendar in my bedroom, I'm forced to look at it every day. It's kind of like looking at yourself in the mirror. It's a little bit of accountability. I'm going to put this calendar up. I'm going to circle dates. I'm going to plot out my year, and then I'm going to look at the calendar, and I'm going to tell people that say, "Hey, do you have 5 minutes? Can we take a meeting? Can I get on a Zoom call or Teams with you?" And I'm going to say, "No, because I'm doing this thing on this day." Everything else has got to fit in to my life. I'm not going to fit my life in to everything else. That's pretty good. I should have wrote that down. Let me say that again, if I can get it again. Everything else has to fit into my life. I'm not going to fit my life into everything else. Put that in quotes. Use that. Just put a little kisses JB underneath it. I like that. So anyways, back to the Moran 166. Fucking rad weekend. Let me just go back just an inch and say, as a reminder, I hadn't been out of town for more than a day in like 10 years. And like out of town for me would have been like going to Grand Rapids or Traverse City. All right. Or lately, within the last 5 or 6 years, if I just dip my toe outside the county, would be going to like Ludington. Or if I'm out for our event, the Rusty Fish 100, if I'm out helping mark the course, that might be the farthest I get outside of the city limits, or that I have gotten in the last few years for sure. So the trip was, let's start from the beginning. We took Dylan's bus, his converted camper bus. The comfort was second to none. It was like plush and luxurious. If you've seen the van, you would say to yourself, there's no way I'm going to be riding this thing for upwards of 4 hours. Seats were mint. Dylan did a great job with the seats. So the drive up was great. Listened to a little bit of a podcast. Had a great conversation. Talked about our event, the Rusty Fish 100. What do we got to do? What have we done? Let's check the boxes. It's only a couple weeks away, and now it's less than 2 weeks away. It's like 10 days away or some shit like that, October 14th. So if you haven't signed up for the Rusty Fish, that's definitely something that you should be putting on your calendar in advance, and you should be ready for this event. I mean, I'm not just saying this because I'm the race director for the event, but man, we have a good time. We have a really good time. If you're down for a little bit of an endurance race, I wouldn't even say that anymore. I mean, yeah, we have a few races on that day. One of them is 127 miles. One of them is 100 miles. But we have a 66 mile and we have a 33 mile. So you could pick your poison. You think you're good enough, strong enough for 127? Do that. Or bring it down a couple of notches. It's up to you. We also added this year, because it just made sense, because it was there, because we're a little bit crazy, a marathon. Because the half metric, or the half, I don't even know how anyways, I'm not the best at explaining the routes. But the marathon fits in nicely with the 33-mile route. So we added it. We have like 2 or 3 people signed up for it. I don't even care that there's only 2 or 3 people signed up for it because I think it's going to grow. Anyways, one of the things that we do is make this a days-long event that goes into the evening. Not just because the racers, the participants, are going to be out there riding all day, especially the ones that are doing the 100-mile or the 127-mile. We want to make this a party. We decided when we developed this race and took over Run the Pier, we were going to make it a community event. We want more than just the participants to enjoy this. So we have beer tents and we have music. Currently, we've been utilizing a DJ booth, and Dylan has been doing a phenomenal job on the DJ booth. Every year he just kicks the tunes up, and he's great on the mic. So, anyways, I digress. Dylan does a great job on the DJ booth, but Bell's Brewery is the presenting partner this year for both of our events, and we are going to be featuring Bell's Oberon Eclipse. It's like the part 2 to Oberon, which I'm super excited about. I've tried it. I think it's wonderful. We're also going to have Two Hearted, which is going to be the lead brand for the event, and Lager for the Lakes, a beer made just for us here in Michigan. North Channel Brewing Company is also a very strong partner for the event, so they're going to be there. They're going to be featuring the IPA that they made for us, the Rusty Fish 100 IPA, and also their Captain Piles Pilsner. Ironfish Distillery, which is always a solid partner for us. They always come in strong. They're making a signature cocktail this year that we're going to be dispensing out of a 6-barrel with their Copper Queen whiskey. And last year it was fire. So I'm super excited for that. I'm excited that we're going to have the kind of atmosphere that I wish other races would do, but I'm glad they don't, because that's what sets us apart. Other than having really dialed in routes in a fun race environment for our participants. But let's get back to the Moran 166. So Dylan and I were up there running support for Zach and Shannon, who did the 166-mile race. Basically, our job was to, kind of be out there behind them, meet them at aid stations, and provide them with their nutrition that they had put together for themselves at each aid station. Zach did a good job of, he made sandwiches, he had oatmeal, he had trail mix out there. Plus, the aid station pit stops were fully stocked. The directors of the Moran 166 really, if you didn't pack any food for yourself, you could get a decent amount of nutrition and electrolytes at every single stop. So good job for them for doing that, because if you're somebody like say Shannon, for example, didn't bring a whole lot of sustenance with him on the on race day, but fortunate for him that the aid stations were fully stocked again, with everything you needed to keep your calories up and your electrolytes up. So that was phenomenal. One thing that we totally fudged up on was we were at aid station 1 on time. I think we had to wait maybe 35 minutes for the boys to show up for the first aid station. Got them squared away. They leave, and we're like, okay, so, and that was about, what was that, 20-some miles into the race? No, I'm sorry, disregard that. That was about 40 miles into the race. I don't know. My mileage is a little off. Hence, what happened next. So they only had like 24 or 32 miles to go to the second aid station. When we looked at the course map and directions for the support teams that we received, it looked to us like they had 80 miles to go. So quick math, based on the speed that they were traveling, we thought we had, like 4 or 5 hours. So Dylan and I made an afternoon of it. We just went kind of gallivanting all around Mackinac County and spent some time at Lake Superior on the shoreline. Had lunch at a day-use state park, which was fresh. Made an attempt to do a podcast, which was absolutely horrifying. And then anyways, with about 2 hours to go based on our time, we said, well, we should probably make our way to the second aid station. When we got there, the couple that was handling that aid station said, oh, you're here. You must be here to pick up the last rider. And Dylan was like, yeah, no, we're not. We're here to see 2 riders, and they're definitely not in last place. Turns out that second aid station was only about 20-some miles away. They had been there already 2 hours prior to when we got there, so we were in the shit house for sure. But again, based on travel time or whatever, we got it right the second time. The third time. Made it to checkpoint 3 with plenty of time to help them out. Checkpoint 2 actually had pizza and beer, so they were fine. Again, the aid stations at the Moran, you guys did a phenomenal job. So Zach ended up finishing the race at about 7:30 at night. He did a great job. Shannon came in about a half hour after him, and then we made our way back to camp. So story time. Let's go back a little bit. Dylan and I on Friday, we left super early, got up to Mackinac County, and we couldn't get in. We got there about 11. We couldn't get into the campground until 3 to set up camp. So we decided to go have a Bloody Mary, maybe 2, and then make our way over to Mackinac Island. I hadn't been to Mackinac Island since I was a kid, like 3rd, 4th grade, I think. Dylan had never been there, so we wanted to make a day of it. A couple of tourists. Excuse me. So, $35 to get on the ferry. $15 to take a bike over. So we each took our bike. So about $50. Or was it 30 and 15, so 45. But anyways, it was about $50. Very nice ride. Get over to the island, get on our bikes, and ride our bikes a block and a half, find a bar. So we might have had a couple of two-hearteds before leaving to get on the ferry. So we're maybe 4 deep. A couple of two-hearteds, couple of Bloody Marys, get to the island, go about a block and a half on our bikes. Oh, there's a bar. We go in. Two-hearteds again. It was at this point Dylan was like, we should not be drinking two-hearteds. Not that we shouldn't be drinking. We shouldn't be drinking two-hearted. So we switched to Miller Lite. And we ended up having some fried foods. Delightful. But it was like, all right, we got to see this island. The island itself, you do the bike ride around the island. 8 miles. Took us about a half hour. There was a little accident. At one point, like I said, a few beers deep. We're coasting at, cruising speeds. One hand on the handlebar, the other one on my phone. I'm doing a video because, everything's content. Dylan's talking, I'm filming, and then in the video you hear a zzz. That's my front tire hitting Dylan's back tire. And I go, sailing takes me away to where I'm going. Into the bushes. Soft landing. Little bit of a puncture wound on my upper thigh. No big D. I think that's from, I have a little knife in my pocket. Knife wasn't open. Just a little, switchy. And it just kind of rolled over. It popped me a little bit. Other than that, Daddy was fine. Good content. So we make our way back around the island with a little bit of time for another pit stop. Cold Miller Lite. Back on the ferry. Back across. Get to camp. All is well. At some point, Dylan pulled out blackberry brandy when he was cooking. And then I woke up the next morning. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And ready to support our guys in the race. So, Where did I finish after the race? Oh, we're on the bus ride back. This is where things get really interesting. Have you ever taken the gel caps of ibuprofen? I mean, I have. No big deal. I say that because have you ever bitten into a gel cap of ibuprofen? I'm about to tell you how that feels like. Okay. So we're driving back. And Zach had prepared a bunch of food that he thought he would need for the race. Turns out he didn't need half of it. And what he had done is he had like 3 or 4 separate Ziploc baggies of, he made a premix of trail mix. So we're on the bus ride back from the finish of the race. It's about, 10-minute ride. And I grab one of these bags full of trail mix that he had put together. And I'm just rifling this shit in. Haven't eaten all day. We've been parking and drinking Miller Lights at each aid station while we waited. So I was hungry. Again, rifling the trail mix down the gullet. Everything but eating my fingers off. I was so hungry. Get one good mouthful in towards the end of the bag because, I'm a disgusting pig. And I felt like something a little different in my mouth, and I bit down on it. And there was like this explosion, explosion of goo. And I swallowed some of it. Now, the moment I crunched down on whatever this thing was, and this goo squirted, and I was like, what in the fuck was that? There was like a pause in time, like a shift in the multiverse. And I started getting this horrible burning sensation going down my throat. Oh my God. And this thing that I crunched into was like stuck to the roof of one of my molars in the back. So I dig my finger in there and I pull it out. And I'm holding on to it. It's pitch dark in the bus. And I didn't make any weird noise or anything. I didn't say shit to anybody. And at this point, I'm thinking, I'm not going to say shit to anybody. I don't know what this is. I'm trying to look at it. I can't see it again. It's pitch dark. And I drop the fucking thing. And it falls kind of down in the little stairwell, the steps coming up into the bus. I'm like, shit. So we finally get back to camp. Oh, meanwhile, I'm looking. I had like a half-open bottle of Diet Coke from like early in the morning. So I found it. Piss warm, flat, but I used it to kind of rinse my mouth. It was like Swish in 3rd grade. You know what I'm saying? Except I had to swallow it, and I'm dealing with this burning down my throat. Like, good God, man! So we get to camp. As soon as we pull into our campsite, turn the flashlight on the iPhone, and I look down and I see this thing. So I pick it up. And I'm looking at it. I get outside the bus and I flash my flashlight on. And I'm looking at it. I can't see what the hell it is. It's smashed. It looks like a giant beetle. It's got a bunch of trail mix embedded in it because of my pig mouth that was fucking chewing on it. So I just pitched it. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that was. Maybe a bug got in there. I crushed it and it shot a bunch of poison juice in me. I don't know. So I say nothing to nobody. I don't know why I kept it a secret. I just did. The next morning, it started downpouring, by the way. It started downpouring. I mean, we were able to have dinner and a couple of cocktails, and by 10:30, it started the rain, got in our tents, and it downpoured from 10:30-ish until we left around 9. It just pouring rain. So that's always fun cleaning up camp. But anyways, in the morning, make our way over to the bus. Zach and I and Dylan having coffee, chewing the rag, chopping it up, talking about the race, what went well, what didn't. And then, we started talking about the rusty fish, too, because that's been on our mind. Again, that's October 14th. For those of you that don't know, it's going to be a fucking party. So, again, we're chopping it up. And Zach starts telling us about how he's out mid-course or whatever, and he's going to himself, I think I should get into some of that trail mix. I'm getting a little hungry. So he cracks open a bag of his trail mix and he's eating it away. And then proceeds to tell us that he had dropped a single ibuprofen into each one of these bags. Like, what are you, autistic? What are you doing? Why would you do that? Then he proceeds to tell us, and meanwhile, I'm closed lips. I'm not saying a thing. He tells us he takes a handful of his trail mix and unknowingly has a liquid gel of ibuprofen in his mouth as well. And crack, he bites into it. The ibuprofen juice down the throat, burning sensation, feels like he's going to puke. And I say, hey, you dumb shit. Why did you put a liquid gel of ibuprofen in each one of the trail mixes? And he was like, well, I just figured I needed ibuprofen throughout the race. I knew where it would be. But you didn't think that it would, mix in there? And you didn't think to tell your boys that, hey, especially me, who eats like an absolute animal when it's time to eat. Like, I'm not really looking at it. I'm just shoveling it, right? So then I tell him my story. You can't make this shit up. I thought I was dying. I thought I had poison in my system. Turns out Zachary is just like, hey, maybe I'll mix in some ibuprofen in the trail mix. Nobody's going to know. Anyhow, Moran 166 was rad. Good job by everybody. I'm so glad that I went. Spent that time with my boys, my buds, my besties. I'm looking forward to doing something like that again. And I'm really looking forward to doing something, a trip like that with my family. The Upper Peninsula, if you haven't been, that is some good looking shit up there. Thick, dense woods. Quiet. The vibration I had. Not like I left New York and went out into the great wild upper Michigan, just left my little cocoon down here in the city of Manistee. But I got a lot of shit going on, So I get up there, no fucking cell reception, don't have my computer, my businesses are still running without me, and I've got this vibration in me, and it took a day and a half for it just to fucking chill. And when it came down, all I could think about is how I could come back, how I can spend more time up here. Got to bring my family up. Doing shit like that is just, it's a must. Again, the big ass calendar. Filling the fucker up, and I'm going to have a ton of fun. I'm going to make memories. And I'm not just going to start in 24. I'm starting now. I'm looking at where I got space. Here's the thing. Remember what I said. Other things have to find room in my life. My life, I'm going to build around the things I want to do in my life. Right? I already forgot that quote from the beginning. I think I'm pretty close there. But calendar is kind of full right now with a couple months to go in 23. So I'm going to start plugging in, my life. And then in 24, everything else needs to find room around my life schedule. Got to get back to Mackinac Island. Got to get back up to the UP. The Moran was awesome. If Zach and Shannon want to do that thing again, fully going to support that. There were other things I wanted to talk about, but we're going long. We need to come back to the Rusty Fish 100 though, for real. This is our third year doing it, and the event itself has grown. The participant level is kind of on this constant hum. It's like the same. I love everybody that has participated, that's continued to participate, that's coming back year after year. We need your help growing that though. Hopefully the community shows strong, because like I said, we want to put on a big event. But in order for us to do the most good, we need more people to register for the event. That's where all the time and effort, that's where the reward comes from. So The Rusty Fish is an insanely expensive event to put on, and we need to get people to participate in the event in order to continue to put something on at this scale. But I'm excited. October 14th. I can't tell you. I'm just like tap. There's so much going on, and it's nice when you say, "Riders ready, go," because then after that, we've already accomplished everything. Now we just have to wait for everybody to come back. We have to wait for the beer tent to kind of pop off, but we just got to get the riders to the start line and off on their way. And once that happens, Daddy takes a big, deep breath. And then once the race is over and we do our recap and we start foreshadowing a little bit for 2024 for Run the Pier and for Rusty Fish, there's like this dip emotionally because we then go into the slow season here in Manistee County. For small business owners, it is a time to take a break. You're kind of relieved that the season is slowing down, but when it's busy, that's when we're the most profitable. So hopefully everybody did a good job of saving some of that summer cash to get them through the winter months. But for those of you that live in Manistee County, and even those of you that just come and visit, or come up for your seasonal, you got a seasonal home up here, come and shop in our stores. Come and eat at our restaurants one time. If you have never been, I'm going to use Manistee Beverage Company as an example. If you've never been in Manistee Beverage Company, I want your business one time. Let me get your business one time, and let me show you how much we appreciate you at least one time. Come in here and give me your business one time. If I fall flat on my face, if I'm having a bad day and you don't like your experience here, that's on me. I get it. Never come back. Same thing at our restaurants. If you've never been to one of our restaurants, give them your business one time. Give them your business one time, and if they fall on their face, that's on them. You never have to go back. But if they're on their game and the food is top notch and you have a good experience, maybe go back one more time. Maybe go back one more time after that. I'm not saying eat out once a week. Eat out once a month in our restaurants. For those of you that have never come downtown into our stores downtown or our restaurants downtown, do it one time. Just do it one time. Do it one time in the slow season. I think you'll find the experience to be super enjoyable. That was on my list to talk about. I don't know why I dovetailed that in at the end of all this racing stuff, but maybe I'll use it as a clip. Because I want your business. If you've never been to Manistee Beverage Company, give me one shot. And give me one shot to sell you your Jack Daniels instead of Meijer or Walmart. Give me one shot. If you don't like the experience, you don't have to come back. Also, is space fake? When I was in the UP, I know people say this shit, but when you're out in the middle of nowhere out there and you're looking up at the sky on a clear night, it's kind of hard to say space is fake for some of you people out there that think it is. I could be convinced, though. I could be convinced that space is fake and Earth is flat if somebody out there can convince me of it. I've been dying to find somebody. I joke around all the time at home with the kids about flat Earth and the space is fake people. I could be convinced. There's a lot of shit on the internet. If you're close to Manistee County and you want to come on the Manistee Local podcast and you're a true believer in flat Earth or the space fake thing, get at me. I'd love to have you convince me. And I wouldn't make a joke of it either. It'd be a serious conversation. You could bring fucking pie charts and graphs and shit in here. We'll do it up. We'll do it up. I love each and every one of you. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, click the subscribe button. It helps way more than you know. Drop a comment. Like the video. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes or Google Podcasts or anywhere you're listening to this, thank you so much. Your time is appreciated. I appreciate the fact that there are some of you out there that listen to me ramble, and I dig it. So, big things coming. I've got Superintendent Ron Stoneman of Manistee Area Public Schools coming on the podcast in November. So, we should probably get a list of questions together, you and I. I'm sure that there's a bunch of people that have questions for Mr. Ron Stoneman, the leader of the Manistee Mariners. What else? Trying to get Miss Laura McBride back on the show. We're going to do, a seance, a Ouija board, a get in touch with my spirits within my angels, my messengers. We're going to try to bring them in and have a legit reading here on the show. So hopefully that works out. Looking to get her on before Halloween. Who else? Got a couple more dudes coming on. So we got an exciting lineup coming up here in the end of October. It's going to be kind of all smashed in. I'm going to do pod after pod after pod after pod and get them all out. With the Rusty Fish coming up on the 14th, I can't really focus on doing all that extra edit, getting those people in here. But I knew I needed to get a little something out for you, a little ear tingle, a little wet willy. For those of you who've been waiting, where the fuck is the podcast, bro? Anyways, I love you guys.